Are we ready for our next question? Are you sitting comfortably?
Are you sitting comfortably?
Okay, then I'll begin.
Restart.
This is your favourite minor Jane Austen character.
Oh my goodness, I came up with this one and then I've forgotten it again.
I've got mine.
You go.
Okay. Well, it just has to be Charlotte Lucas. She has to be my favourite.
Yeah, I did actually have her on my shortlist.
Yeah. It was the one that I was worried that we'd end up picking
The same.
same. She's such a good character, isn't she? And you were talking about liking the pragmatism of Anne, and yeah, with Charlotte, it's like, I'm not beautiful and I'm not incredibly witty. I have to have a life. And okay, so Mr. Collins is a bit of an idiot.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I need to make a decision that works for me.
Yeah.
And she wasn't going to let Lizzie kind of put her down for that.
And then also there's this bit later on that I quite like about how much she's enjoying like keeping her hens and
she's
like
got
organising
her house and she's in charge of something. She's got control in her life, and okay, she has to put up with this.
Oh, it's got 4 minutes of memory left.
Oh, that's not enough.
That is not enough.
What do we do?
I don't know. So we were on minor characters.
Minor character.
So my minor character that I picked in the end was Mrs. Smith from Persuasion. So she's a friend of Anne Elliot's from school, who Anne then looks up and finds in Bath subsequently. And she's just really like positive and bubbly, and she's bedbound. She's one of the few disabled characters that makes it into Jane Austen's fiction, because she has some kind of condition in her legs that stops her from being able to go out and about. And she just brings this wealth of entertainment to the last part of Persuasion.
Warm and happy and funny, and it's a lovely friendship. Yeah.
The character that I nearly picked was Mr. Woodhouse from Emma, because I just like his...
No, really?
Yeah. I just find him so endearing, and he's like such a caring father character. You disagree?
No.
You're going to reveal to me now that he is the character that you picked
he's
for your...
He's my answer to question 7, the character I love to hate.
You have so many possible choices for a character that you would love to hate. Why would you love to hate Mr. Woodhouse? He's so lovable and he's so caring.
That's why I love to hate him, because he's kind of like adorable, but he's also absolutely infuriating. And I could just shake him all the time.
He's lovely. You couldn't shake him. You would need to make him a nice boiled egg that's exactly the right level of soft.
Oh dear, they indulge him much too much.
You're too mean to him.
And I'd sort him out. Yeah.
How would you?
None of this nonsense. Yeah.
I just rewatched the most recent adaptation of Emma with Romola Garai, and I just really love the way that he's played as this really caring old man who's so concerned for everybody.
Yes, but in the book he's a much more selfish character than he is in that adaptation.
No, I'm reading the book at the moment, so I think I can be the expert on this. And it's very clear that he is a very gallant and caring man.
Okay.
In the old-fashioned style. What's the next question?
A book that you think has been inspired by Jane Austen's body of work?
So my answer for this is The Last September by Elizabeth Bowen, which is a 20th century classic set in Ireland.
Great choice.
I thought you would approve. I really did think you would approve. It's a book that you got me to read.
Yeah.
So it's set in like a stately home in the country in Ireland during a time of extreme tension and indeed fighting between the English and the Irish.
Civil War, in fact.
Civil War. But they're in this kind of like posh, protected enclave, and they're just having tennis parties and cutting sweet peas, and the main character is maybe about 17 or 18, and she's going to her first dances with the officers.
Oh yes, it's like the militia.
Yeah.
Now I've set it to store on the memory card, which I thought it already was set to do that.
So, further camera issues, it was just refusing to acknowledge that it did have a memory card to use.
Yeah, I know it is.
It's a very forgetful item, is my phone.
Unlike its owner.
Harsh. So yeah, I was saying that The Last September is just really reminiscent of Pride and Prejudice, and the kind of, in the way that the war is going on, the wider situation is going on, but you have to pick it up from little references and little points like...
You don't want to go down that lane in the evening.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the same way that in Pride and Prejudice you have...
you know the Napoleonic Wars are going on,
Yeah.
but it's implicit rather than explicit. There's a bit more explicit in Last September because it is a civil war after all.
Yeah, because see, it's going on their doorstep and gradually sort of intensifies.
But that kind of juxtaposition,
it's very Jane.
It's very Jane, it is.
And the way she uses that family is like a commentary on the entire situation.
Yeah.
Anyway, yours?
Nice book. So, I had to think about this a lot because so many books inspired by Jane.
Yeah, every book.
Every book, well,
every good novel written after Jane Austen was inspired by Jane
Okay.
Austen, and a
Just
lot
at
of the
least to
bad
some
novels
extent.
as well.
Many of the bad novels as well. In fact, too many of the bad novels.
Yes.
Yeah. However, one of the things that has struck me is how many writers from the Indian subcontinent that write in English, you can really feel that they've read Jane Austen at school,
Yeah.
that's been
And
part of
soaked
their,
it up
and soaked
and-
it
yeah.
up, and then they use it, but in an Indian or Pakistani or whatever context. And
Okay,
so
cool.
the book that I've chosen is a book by Rohinton Mistry, who is one of my favourite writers.
And not one that I've ever heard of, really.
Yeah,
So this is clearly a favourite that you've somehow
I
not
can't
managed to
believe
share.
that I haven't gone on to you about you ought to read A Fine Balance. However, the one I'm going to pick is Family Matters. He does that thing that Jane does of writing about family and people and a domestic situation and issues around like kind of class and having to marry someone when maybe that wasn't the person that you really wanted to, but
Yeah.
you've got to do that because otherwise you'll be letting your family down, or you know, all those
social expectations.
all
of-
those
yeah.
things that he does. You know, when I picked Moby Dick for the book that I think she would hate, like she epitomizes the fact that you can write a novel about a small place, you know, a village, some families, but those themes aren't small, they're big themes.
Yeah.
Yes, domestic drama is not trivial.
She shows how important it is, how vital it is, how
Yes.
part of your life it is.
Yes, and you know that we don't have to be writing about big adventures or big topics, you know. And Rohinton Mistry does that really well, and he's actually telling you loads about Indian society and in Family Matters, particularly about the Parsi community. So it's full of themes, but it's not afraid to just narrow in on say domestic drama.
Yeah, the little fragment of ivory.
The little square of ivory, and he has beautiful style, lovely sentences, and it's got the feeling of a 19th century novel for me.
Yeah.
But written, I think it was published in 2001, so it's a sort of 21st century novel with those 19th century qualities and values that I really enjoy.
Oh, it sounds like I should read it.
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah. Well, actually, I'd say read A Fine Balance because that's probably his like up to
the top, the
masterpiece. So our last question.
Final question. Wait,
is-
we've had a spoiler
You-
for this
you-
one. I
you-
know your
spoiler
answer.
alert. Yes,
Yeah.
you know my answer.
And I've got another cop-out
She's
answer,
a
really.
Jane
so-
Austen character that I love to hate her, and you've got a cop out. Oh no.
No, I mean I couldn't make up my mind between
Oh.
two. Three actually.
3. Go far away.
My number one, love to hate. I
Number
think.
one.
Should I go from
You've
top,
got to
bottom,
go.
top,
You've got to go
bottom,
from
top?
bottom
I've
to
got to
top.
build
Bottom
up,
to top.
I've got to build up.
So number three. Number 3.
My Jane Austen character that I love to hate, but also love to love as well,
Yes.
is Lady Susan. So the protagonist of her own
you know
work,
she was on my list
because
for-
she's just so fantastically manipulative.
Yes.
And just evil. Oh no! So I've just remembered the 2 other minor characters that were going to be at my top. It was her daughter Frederica, because she's so witty. So
She
her
is.
mum bans her from discussing her troubles with her aunt and uncle. She says you mustn't talk
Yes.
to your aunt and uncle about
No.
these problems. So she writes a letter to their son.
Yes.
I just love the wit of that. Of like,
Yeah.
well, I've obeyed what my mum told
Yes.
me.
I'm a good daughter, and I
but-
followed her instructions to the letter.
But it's like mother, like daughter,
And subverted
they
them.
both managed to be like quietly
Yeah.
manipulative in their
Yeah.
own way. So I just really enjoy
She liked
the
Frederica.
way that I really like Lady Susan. I love to hate her because I love to see like the way her mind works and stuff. And then on a similar theme,
Yes.
the second one
So
on
number
the
2.
list
Number 2. We've had number 3. Number 2.
is Miss Lucy Steele, because I think she's actually Lady
Oh.
Susan at a younger age.
Yes.
I think Lucy Steele one day would end up
We're not
being
being
Lady Susan.
Oh.
Yeah. Because
Oh, what a
she
fate.
again has got manipulation really
Yeah.
really down, and she's beautiful and she's charming, and she just
she
twists
is
everyone round her thumb
Yeah.
really. And Jane Austen's really good at depicting the kind of dangerous baddies who are the baddies that look like goodies.
Yes.
And Lucy Steele is one of them, and
The-
so is Lady Susan. Like
Yeah.
most people don't seem to manage to work out that these guys are
You
actually
I think it was obvious.
Yeah.
But it's that thing of like because they've got a beautiful face.
they're forgiven.
Yes.
Because there was this whole idea that your face reflected your character. And
So if you were
she was
beautiful, you must be
undermining
good.
that. Yeah.
And she really, that's
Yeah.
one of her innovations in a way.
And
Yeah.
what really caps it for Lucy Steele is how utterly vicious she is to Eleanor in taking her aside and sharing this secret with her because they're such good friends
Right.
about how well, I won't spoil it.
That's spoiler alert.
But she really sticks the knife in and twists it deliberately.
Yes.
So I think actually I've just talked myself into raising her to number 1.
Yeah.
I think Lucy Steele is my absolute number 1 character I love to hate.
You love to hate her.
She's awful.
So who was
The one that's now been relegated to number 2.
number 2?
And I feel like it's because I'm reading Emma. It's got to be Mrs. Elton. Because she's so fresh to me. She just I just feel Emma's agony and her presumption and just she's so.
But then Emma kind of deserves her a bit.
She does. I think you're right there.
Whereas I think you're right that like Lucy Steele, like no one deserves a Lucy Steele
particularly
in
not
their
Emma
life.
Ashwood.
And Emma can cope with Mrs. Elton.
Yeah, and I think Emma learns a lot from Mrs. Elton.
Yes.
Actually, even though she doesn't necessarily openly say that, I think she does realise certain things from
Makes
seeing
her a
how
better
Mrs.
person.
Elton acts,
Yeah.
particularly towards Jane Fairfax, and it makes her think, oh, actually, I need to address the way that I.
You weren't tempted by Mr. Collins because he's the classic love to hate character. Or
no,
indeed,
I don't love to hate him at all. I just
Lady
see him
Gerberg.
as Lady Catherine.
Lady Catherine.
Yeah.
You know, she's your classic love to hate character.
There's just too many contenders on
There
this
are,
one.
aren't
You tell me more about why you love to hate Mr. Woodhouse. Or do you feel like you've covered it?
I feel like I've covered it because I interpreted the love to hate thing as you had to like love the character a bit as well as hate them, whereas like Lucy Steele is just hateful.
No, but I think you love to hate them because you enjoy the
Enjoy the
experience
pleasure of hating
being
them.
moved so much,
Yes.
like having so much investment in the book that you hate have that
makes
strong
good sense.
emotion.
And we do invest an awful lot
Yeah, in
in
these lovely
these
books.
wonderful books, which is why Jane Austen July is such a delight.
Yeah,
There we go. Yeah.
I've just realised that I need to tag some people
Yes,
because we've reached the end of the questions, haven't we?
we have. That's
And
the question.
I have been watching like loads of really cool Jane Austen July TBRs. I've been like searching for Jane Austen July, watching the videos, and generally subscribing to those channels. But I haven't written them down to know who to tag. Like I have them saved on my phone, but
Well, you're filming on your phone.
So I'm gonna make a list of people who I found via Jane Austen July who I would like to see do this tag.
And you're going to tag them down below, or you can put them on the wallpaper.
Put them on the wallpaper.
Oh, on the hideous wallpaper.
Have the privilege of your name on top of the baguettes
And
the apples and the nectarines, apricots.
Something like that.
So if your name is on the wallpaper, please consider yourself tagged. And if you're doing Jane Austen July and nobody else has tagged you, then just go ahead and do the tag because it's
great
good fun. And it does really make you think and
Oh,
question
it
the
does.
books a little bit. And it's been quite fun doing it with you.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I can't believe that you hate Mr. Woodhouse. I really can't believe it.
I do.
He's so lovely.
Just imagine living it.
He's like your granddad. But he would be frustrating to
just
live with.
perhaps closer to imagining myself caring for someone
In that position.
Mm.
Yeah, you can see the frustration for Emma.
Yep.
She knows when to say,
Enough.
you need to let me.
Mr. Knightley's a saint.
Mr. Knightley is a saint. The one criticism that I have of Emma actually is that Mr. Knightley is too good. Emma is beautifully flawed,
Yes.
but Mr. Knightley
It's too
isn't.
good. Oh, so like we all adore him, but you think he might actually be a bit of a prig?
Yeah, maybe when she marries him, he'll
He'll
turn out to
be. Do you think that there'll be like a kind of coercive control thing going on?
You know, he's often like
'Cause he-
telling her how to behave, isn't he?
Yeah,
Which
and
I
making
always
her feel
interpret-
small.
Well, that's really upsetting.
Oh no! Oh no! I might have to reread Emma in the light of coercive control now.
I was making a list for a potential Jane Austen July video that's probably never going to happen, a list of the Jane Austen couples that I thought would be happiest.
Yes.
And Emma and Knightley were at the top of my list, but I might have to move them right to the bottom now.
And it's obviously Anne and Captain Wentworth. They're
I
going to be
had them
happiest.
about number 3 because I thought potentially you could say that they had some communication issues and maybe some.
But once
pride
they're married,
issues.
they'll get over all that. They just need to be able to be intimate.
Yeah, I suppose they were dealing with the constraints of the time.
Yeah.
But once they're married, they'll be
I've
able
got
to
great
go
faith.
over.
Great faith in that partnership.
Whereas, like, I think I had Eleanor and Edward. Spoilers for this video that's never going to get made, but Eleanor and Edward, I don't think they're going to have a very happy ending.
You could be right.
Because Edward is such a weak character.
Yeah. Is Fanny going to be happy?
You know, you said earlier on that you think Anne Elliot is depressed, but if any character has a tendency towards mental health difficulties, I really think that it's Fanny Price. So I think that even though Fanny marries the man that she's always loved, I don't think that that's going to cure her tendency to always possibly not see the brightest side of life.
That's an interesting thought, isn't it? Yeah.
And Edmund marries her as somebody who's kind of heartbroken.
True. Which isn't a great start, is it?
Yeah.
You're right. That's
A
sad.
bit pessimistic.
I'd like Fanny to be happy. Oh, we shouldn't really go off on some sort of tangent here.
No, yeah, we should wrap up.
We
But
should
yeah,
wrap
no,
up.
no, tell me.
But no, it's just that thing of being sent to live with like a relative, a bit like being adopted. You know, well,
Yeah,
they were,
yeah.
If you were looking at that now, you would anticipate that a child might have some sort of attachment issues as a result, and that's how I see Fanny. I see her as having attachment difficulties
Being
because
moved,
of
yeah.
being moved as a small
And Edmund
child.
is like the first person that she really
And
latches onto
yeah.
that is, so she doesn't have that
Yeah.
kind of healthy balance of relationships. She goes from loving her home to loving Edmund, really.
Yeah.
So she doesn't have that kind of independent
Yeah.
resilience. Let's say Anne does, I think.
Yes, you're right. She does. She has a lot of resilience, even though she's low. She gets through it with her resilience.
Anyway, thank you very much for watching. It has been a delight, actually. I've really enjoyed making
Yeah.
it. So thank you for the creation of the tag.
Yes. Oh, thank you for Jane Austen July.
Yeah, thank you for the whole idea. It's
Brilliant.
been so enjoyable. You're going to read Sense and Sensibility. I'm reading Emma. We're both reading Longbourn. I'm reading Jane Austen at Home by Lucy Worsley. Then we're both going to read What Matters in Jane Austen.
And I've read The Watsons.
And I've read Lady Susan. So,
Hey.
and you've read Frankenstein.
Oh, yes.
So I don't have a book from the time period as yet. We'll see what happens in the rest of July.
There's not that much time left.
Only halfway through. I have time. Good night and thank you.
Bye.
Bye.